all in this beautiful hall, which is called the Mendi Arts Center. You know, as you are sitting in this hall, what comes to my mind is what happened in 1976, 1977, when students from a nearby school, Cowan High, were fighting for beer halls to be closed for us today to sit and talk about how we can inclusively grow tourism. A victim of that incident was the late Nomvume Mnyazi, an incident that happened just outside the fence. So I just want to ask you to, clap your hands for ETTA, Isuzu, for giving us an opportunity to come and talk about issues that are talking around boosting the economy through tourism in the area. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you. Our theme is simple. Our theme is tourism for inclusive growth. I am sure that theme is going to change my mind, Sean, because what is always in my mind when I talk about tourism is what we used to say: tourism is everybody's business and everybody has to play a part. I don't want again to say thank you to the pandemic counselor, MMC's charge. I don't want to say thank you to it because it has it gave us a shock in all aspects and in all angles of life. And I think the reason why we are here today, it is because we have to change our mindset, we have to change our attitudes. Some people often say, yeah, if you are not willing to change, you have to break. So relax, fasten up your safety belt, and we will talk. Indaba mos yindo yindekuthethwa kuyo, it talks about talks. Let's talk about how we can all make a difference, especially in our areas. Councillor, MMC, this is your day. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call upon the member of the mayoral committee, the MMC, Economic Development, Tourism and Agriculture, Miss Yasanga. Okay, Stadu is a Nkenge. No, where is the mic? Not was up okay. Yeah, price to me. Yeah, price to me. Okay.
Can we be ready? Okay. Program Director, ndisesisithuba wena. Noko, akukazi ingoma upha ekhaya. Yes. Just a loose translation, I'm saying I'm unmarried. I am single. I'm trying to place this, but you see now technology. Can I pull this? Yes. So Program Director, esteemed guests, our panelists, guests from the tourism industry, councillors present, members of the media. Mandiqale ndithi because it's Heritage Month, uyabulisa uZulu, uyabulisa umchengu, uyabulisa umfingo, uyabulisa ungwenyangoma, uyabulisa uvumba lwenibongo liyanuka. Mna ndinguSobhuza, ndingumthiyane, ndinguzikode, ndingunjaduna, ndingucekwana, ndingutshutsha, ndingubombemfene, ndingungubengcuka, ndingumalinga, ndingumtunga, ndinguyengwayo. Ndawuyeka apho. Andifuni uyitsala kakhulu. Kodwa ke, because we are celebrating not only Tourism Month, but Heritage Month, I think it's quite important that we call our clan names, because it's a unique feature to some of us. Kuba kaloku akho mntu unesiduko esinye. Sonke simane ukubiza amanyange xa sithetha sisithi siyawacamagusha, siyawabulela kuba inyanga yamagugu lena. I was going off of this speech, but because it was written for me, sometimes I tend to deviate from the speech. And I believe it's quite important sometimes to deviate from a speech because it does not necessarily touch what your heart says you must touch it. I am quite honored to welcome you this morning. Firstly, to this iconic building. I recall a time where we worked extremely hard when I was MMC for Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture. And I remember SMM is closing this building off and we were trying, battling to get it open. So I am quite excited to be inside for the first time. And for me, it says that we are moving. As much as we may be moving, not as fast as we should or as fast as we could, but we are at least moving. Dadushon, I come from Motherwell. I still live in Motherwell. Unlike other councillors who, when they get a bit of money, they move out. I still believe in Motherwell because that's where I was born, bred and buttered. And it is a place where, whenever I look at it, I always think to myself, this place has such potential. But unfortunately, we have not managed to package it or reimagine it outside of what it is, just a mere township. You know, I feel jealous when I look at places, your Vilakazi streets or your Langas in Cape Town. And I think to myself, but you know, there is so much in Nelson Mandela Bay. There is so much that this city has to offer, but we are not doing enough. And perhaps that is because we don't have a vision, or if we do have a vision, perhaps there is no political will. And I believe that this occasion should be, will be, must be a start of greater things so that we can reimagine our townships, so that we can ourselves amongst the best. You know, I was thinking that Utatu Steve Biko was tortured in the city. That is a unique tourism product that we could capitalize on, but currently we are not. But fortunately, with Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism, we will be doing that. With the colleagues and the officials of EDTA, we will be doing that. It will not take a year. It may not take 2 years, but at least we'll be leaving a lasting legacy so that the tourism in this city begins to shape up. It cannot be that we are in New Brighton and so much history is in this area alone, but we see people still poor. We, at this stage, should have been a city that has abantu outside here selling artwork, abantu selling beadwork, but that's not happening. It was even more sad to know that at one point we had to fence off this place because it became a dumping place. That is sad. It is sad for our tourism, it is sad for our artists, it's sad for our townships. It cannot be that post-apartheid, we are still living like this, and tourism is this dead in our townships. You know, when they opened the Red Location Museum, we thought, now this is a start. This is the beginning of growth. But what did we do? Tina, people from here, Bantu Balap, we started destroying the very infrastructure that was supposed to be a tourism product, at the very infrastructure that was supposed to make us a tourism destination. We started destroying it piece by piece, brick by brick. And perhaps it's because of misinformation. Abantu Bakuti do not know that there are people coming out of other provinces and other countries who want to see what's happening here, who want to spend in this, want to spend in our townships. But unfortunately, we don't have that understanding of tourism. And perhaps that is a challenge to us as government, to you as the industry, to educate. Because education is key. Education and knowledge is power. Power that currently abantu baselokishini don't understand. And I'm hoping that out of this session, we begin to reimagine tourism. We begin to reimagine everything that surrounds our townships, because it begins with us. Thina bantu bahleli elokishini. We cannot sit and wait for a Messiah to save us from this situation. It is up to us to build and save ourselves, and we can only do that through collaboration. I am hoping that this session will be very fruitful, and that as we continue Tourism Month, we start to have more of these conversations, more of these dialogues, in order to ensure that we have a booming city that is a tourism destination of note that will parallel any tourism in the world. I welcome you with those few words. I hope this will be a fruitful session. You will enjoy yourselves, that we will engage. Thank you very much.
Hayi. Azitsho izandla, asiqhwabe kuloo ndawo. Thank you. Nkosi MMC, thank you very much. Utsho kwavokotheka. Ndalibala nozichaza ba ndinguMike kaphantsi, ndinguNyawoza uThahla. Without wasting time, ndizawubiza omnye uMiss inobu single naye ayingoMrs. She's the acting director, tourism and marketing, uMiss Siphokazi Ngombane. Isivivana sikhona na? Isivivana sikhona? Alena, you here? I saw Sean somewhere. There's Sean, there's Sheena. So yanibona nonke madoda nikhona. Mntwana omhle, ndikubonile. Xa sithetha ngobukhosi sithetha ngentsukaphi yethu nangale nyanga siyavuya xana siyanjelwana ngabantu abafana nawe. Lawufika ke lo thuba msho ndizawuchazelwa ba ungenile. Phakazi, over to you.
A very good morning to everyone. I will start with our political head, Councillor Chato. Good morning, ma'am. To our valued and distinguished panelists, Utata Umay Pansi, our MC, the industry at large, the community of Brighton, as well as the media. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome and good morning. My name is Sipoga Ngombane. I am the Acting Director for Tourism Marketing at EDTA in Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. My job is quite easy and quite small. I think MMC Waike Onke, how we're celebrating this month. Utata Mike Pansy has also said the same thing, how we celebrate the inclusivity of New Brighton, actually not just New Brighton Township at large. Okay, I would like to start to introduce the members. I will give over to the panelists to introduce themselves as to who they are, which institution, association they're from, and then we'll move with the next leg of the program. I'd like to acknowledge Utata Toto Machano Nandi Ngoko from Township Tourism Forum in Motherwell. I'd also like to acknowledge Utata Upet Gondile from New Brighton, as well from the Township Tourism Forum. As I say Woma from Woma, I'd like to acknowledge Uzanemvula Yokwana, Usiyabongata Mese. From Etinaha Utinek, which is now Kareha, I'd like to acknowledge Umnetisi Sitoto, Usiabulela Boyson. I'm gonna skip But Oyama because he will be given an opportunity to introduce himself. And I'm also gonna be skip Utbut Ulungelo. He'll be introducing himself. But yet I'd like to introduce as well and acknowledge Ubuti Khanti Lamani from Nelson Mandela Bay Black Tour Operators Association. I'd also like to acknowledge you, Putbag, but I think you'll be having an opportunity to introduce yourself also from the townships and also from the Black Tour Operating Association. I'd like to acknowledge as well Mr. Wandisila Makwabe, my ED from Nelson Mandela Bay. He's the acting ED for Economic Development, Tourism, Agriculture. I'd also like to acknowledge from NMBT, Mr. Sean Van Eck, from Pemba, Ms. Sheena Wilmot, from Sadafa, Glenn Papin, also from NMU, Dr. Tokozani Mbane, SATSA, Umandisa, Mabgwaxaza. From Sahimi, which I'm gonna skip, Ubud Odwa, who is part of the panelist, he will introduce. Ubud Lusanda also is part of the panelist, he will definitely introduce himself. And also I'd like to acknowledge Ubud Duma Makobela from ECPTA, Eastern Cape Hawks Tourism Agency. And I also like to acknowledge the team from communication from Nelson Mandela Bay, the team from ESREC from Nelson Bay. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Up London, which I hear the tour guides and operators. I also like to acknowledge our vehicle transport partner for the tourism month, Isuzu. I'd like to acknowledge the Miss Iviwe Boti, Miss Mandlakazi Singa, Sigwad, as well as Sheena Woods. And I also like to acknowledge our own made herself, if I can call it that way, Miss Francina Zana from Exclusive Hospitality Concert. She started from herself with no help at all. She made it her own. I always called you made it an old girl. And also I'd like to acknowledge all other stakeholders that I've not mentioned so that I can observe all protocols. You are very much acknowledged and we'd like to say thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Spooky. Andikawava amazwi apho. I think siqala kuwe Mr. Mthathi kamandi kukokwenu kule area apha eRhangeni. Over to you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Igama lam ngu-Odo Mthathi, who was invited here because of my past association, hopefully with the tourism, as a person who took over as chairman when Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism from Mr. Mike Phansi, who was the previous chairman of the Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism. Ndathatha kuye ke ubhuti Mike, andazi uba ndayiyeka phi. A person who manages sometimes his own business and works for an institution called the South African International Maritime Institute, hosted by the Mandela University, with an interest in the oceans economy. Perhaps of relevance today could be the coastal marine tourism area. Enkosi kakhulu sihlalo.
Over to you, Mr. Ngabaza.
Ndabulela Njabuzo. Igama ndingulungelo Ngabaza. Mkulu Mambathana Macham team. Nyana kaMamsukweni. Mine is very simple. Okay. I'm a tour guide who envisaged to be one of the leading tour operators in the Nelson Mandela Bay, whose background is economics, but having come to tourism because of unemployment and other things, I decided to try it, but I ended up liking it. I've been doing my own business for 9 years now. Mine is to tell the difficulties and the challenges and how we can move forward as tour guides and tour operators. Hence, I am here. And I hope through this dialogue from today, we can be able to have a way forward, as the MMC has said, where we will be able to be one of the leading makers of tourism. Just think about it, 48 kilometers of swimmable beaches, capital of the nose bottle dolphin, warmest sea than Cape Town, friendliest people in the world, good political background, proud history of South Africa, home of the legends. I don't know why we should be out there selling the city from Port Edward to Tsitsikamma. We should be able to do that. I'm hoping through this dialogue here, we could be able to come up with a way forward. That's my reason for being here.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Madam Lusanda, surname Bufiki. I'm the board member and national coordinator of the South African Township and Village Tourism Association, SATOVITO, and also the board member of Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism. In regard in terms of developing and talking to this issue today, it's quite a pertinent one. It's not only rest in the Nelson Mandela Bay, it's an issue that is challenging the country as a whole, but I'm glad that at least we are coming together with different stakeholders and putting plans and ways to go forward so that we can have an inclusive tourism. Thank you.
Molweni. Igama ni Oyamavanto, I come from a Mandela Bay Development Agency. The agency is an agency of the city established in 2003-4 with this core mandate on urban renewal programs and activities in the inner city, but our mandate has changed over time. So my interest in being in this talk is only is from the interest of knowing that we as a city carry all kinds of heritages and stories, right? And we still haven't established how to package our stories and sell as tourism products. So our keen interest is in the development spaces, in placemaking. How do we create spaces that are a true reflection of everyone in the city? And I'm very careful on the language of tourism, of township tourism, because in essence, for me, at least I feel, that begins to create a segregation to saying there's tourism, then there's township tourism. I see tourism as tourism that packages all these different stories of the entire city. And not to use languages and connotations that says there's northern areas tourism, there's township tourism, but there's tourism in totality that promotes and encourages and packages all stories that reflect everyone in the city.
Thank you. Sivile mos uba ngoba nabalapha endlini. Thank you very much. You know, every time people are talking about tourism, Mr. Vando, out there transformation, this, that, unity, this. We've been talking about such challenges, and they will always remain. I always believe what transformation iqala ngomntu oyi-one. And my wish is when we go out of this meeting this morning, I wish that we go out and sell the city and find each other. If I cannot find Sean van Eck, if I cannot find Mr. Odwam Tati, then this whole city we lost. Because we were talking about these issues, Mr. Van Eck. We were pointing fingers to the municipality. We were pointing fingers to product owners, but we never pointed fingers in ourselves. And I think today it is a day where we must be able to walk the talk. The discussion will be around 2 points. Let's start with point number 1. Nelson Mandela Bay Township tourism products. Now, I think when Mr. Vando was saying tourism is tourism, whether you call it township or what, but tourism is tourism. But be that as it may, Nelson Mandela Bay's township tourism products. Let's talk about that 1 point, and I don't know whether you will open up the debate or you will, or the dialogue.
Thank you, Nyawoza. One of the, I like what Mr. Vando said, but it's always been a case that we should be looking at the disadvantaged areas to try and equalize the disadvantages that we've always had Okay, you might say tourism is tourism, which is fine, but show me a bungee jumping here. Show me a zip line here. No, it's show me a quad bike in here. Okay, we've got a New Brighton Beach, which is sitting here. I said New Brighton Beach is about 7 minutes away from my home, walking. Okay, imagine if there was a product there that was going on. Whenever I open my window at my house, happen to come from red location, I see the beach every day. But there's nothing in terms of tourism that we're doing here. Okay, let's leave that alone. Let's look at how can we be looking forward. Nicely, or let's say positively, there has been a push for a tourism hub at Bekile, which happens to be at the old place called Emaplangeni, now called Kwafort, which is right next, for those who don't know it, it's not far from the magistrate, New Brighton Magistrate Court, just around the corner. There is an old bar. Okay. So one of the things that has been pushed is for that to be a tourism hub. From my point of view, that could be a great catalyst for us talking business. I think when the relocation museum was built, it was not more of a business, was more of preserving the history that we had, to tell the stories that we had, to preserve them, to make sure that people know we come from, so that we can be able to go forward. Nobody has come up with a master plan that looks at business, at what can be done there, although that's a multi-million rand precinct. I think the opening and building of that tourism hub and tying it to the red location, New Brighton station, as a route could be a perfect solution to what we are doing. Imagine if we had working towards that or vice versa, moving along the red location towards the Mendi Art Center, moving out to Akri Road, which is soon to be named Nomtlengwenyeni. That's a lot of history that can be told there. I've always said that why don't we look at kids being tour guides? We got a lot of youth that are working around here. I'm happy that Mr. Muleno CEO is here today. He has made an effort to have some guides being trained, I think early, which is something that we can do. In that way, we are creating people, as the MMC has said, people do not understand the benefit of these things. Hence, we've always said, when we have a program, you must have people who participate in those programs. When we have a program, you have to have people who participate in those programs. But what is said, people sometimes voluntarily participate in these things, and there is benefit for them. So once we have a product that's going on, specifically for this township, we will be able to say, now we have something that actually involves the people as well, which is the same challenge that made the relocation be closed. Peselamani asked me the other day, do you think the relocation will ever be open? I said to him, yes, but we have two challenges. People are saying, if it's open, what do I get? If it's closed, what do I miss? The relocation museum cannot answer that. Only a few of us who understand the benefits that can come out of that thing. Now, as a tour operator, you register your own business, you have your own internet, you have your own products, but you need to sell them. Now, some people are very interested to understand the culture and the values of the people who live around these cities, because we can't be selling one side of the city. Security, very huge challenge. You know, security has been one of the most challenging things that we have here. I know this is going to sound controversial, but I have to say it, because if I don't say it, then I'm not being honest. Our own Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism is very reluctant to sell the township tour. Our own Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism is very reluctant to sell township tour. Because what if something happened to the tour guide? I mean, what if something happens to the tourist? So whenever we develop these products, we've got to think security. Another challenge is we do not have one township. We have Dispatch, we have Woma, we have Motherwell, we have Slovo, we have Woma, we have Utnik. These are places that we need to cover, and they have a lot of history to be told. So our products have to be made in such a way where we get everybody inclusive into it. I think our first challenge is security. Marketing is there. History is there. The institutions are there. It's easy for people to actually have their own website. Facebook is free. There are a lot of free websites that you can register as a tour operator and a tour guide to be able to, like your, I just forgot the first way, don't advise, what's the name there, guys? You can just register your name there, and your thing is registered. The Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism also make sure that our products are in there. When was the last time we ever paid our fees, membership fees? But our products are still there on their website because they understand the challenges that we have. I'm saying that we do need products, security, financial support, very important, because we are battling. I'm going to leave it there so that we can, it's just a matter of trying to say to people, the one thing I didn't mention, the NTSS 2016 to 2026 strategy allows us to be organized as forums. And as those forums, we need to be legal is a very instrumental word. We need to be legally registered so that we can be able for the MMC to assist us to apply for funding. The lack has been on us to do that. The lack has been on us because the city had recognized us already. When the list was read there, I heard the names of the forums that we have, but we haven't moved since the last 3 years. So the challenge is upon us all here. We must look where we are lacking and where do we want to go. So I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there so that other people can come it through. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngabaza. Mandizithathe ke ngoku ezintambo ndiziphose kwecala. Uthetha ngo-Mr. CEO. When people are talking about tour guides, Mr. CEO said to me, no, I man khawuye esikolweni ukufunde nawe. And I never thought that I can go back to a classroom and be able to learn. And I, through ECPTA, I managed to get into a classroom. So that shows as well, ukuthi umuntu ufunda ada khokhobe. I just want the floor to respond to Mr. Ngabaza.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zanebula Kyokwana. I'm the chairperson of Woma Township Forum. I think when we received emails inviting us to here, we were asked to forward some questions. And one of the questions I forwarded was the issue of safety of our tour guides and tourists, which is exactly what Ubud Lungelo has just touched on. The other day, I bought a Herald. I was in Woma Park, I bought a Herald. I saw an article there of Lynn Haller, who was guiding at the Donken, where she was marked. The criminal ran away with the camera of the tourist. I immediately phoned. After that, I sent an email to Sean to find out what was being done about the problem. And Sean assured me that something was going to be done and get to the bottom of it. The point I'm trying to emphasize here is not only people don't only, Budlungelo is the issue of crime, of safety of our tourists is not only in the township, it also happens in the city. This is an article I read from the Herald. I immediately followed it through. In the township, it's ways. I'm from Woma Township. I'm a tour operator. Crime in Woma is getting through the roof now. There is my colleague there. He can attest to this. Every day you hear, every weekend you hear people being shot and killed. Vakasha Tours is a family business. Every day we ask ourselves, how are we going to do the next township tour if this is the situation? And it is true, Blungelo, what we have raised, the issue of safety of our tourists is very, very important. Something needs to be done about it. Earlier on, you challenged the issue of township tourism products within the forums. As the chairperson of Woma Township Tourism Forum, we've got products, we've got bidders, we've got crafters, we've got cooperatives, we've got SMMEs that are under Woma Township Tourism Forum. I was breaking to our Isuzu driver this morning as she was driving us to here. We are at the moment putting in place a cooperative that is going to manufacture a jam, a marmalade jam. And we had already manufactured the first batch and gave it to Paul, Sispung and others. And they gave it a thumbs up. There is a potential in our townships, people. And I was saying to that lady, we want to change Woma Township into what we call a manufacturing hub. There's a lot we can do in our townships. As Woma Township, we have stopped complaining. We have decided to take the initiative to move. Even during this COVID-19, we were holding meetings, making sure things do happen. Thank you very much.
Masikwabe, Masiyene Zande. Thank you. That was okay. That was Woma.
Nami ngicela uzulisela apha endlini igama nguyandani wakwamdolomba nje beshilo memo ke siku Heritage Month umna noGadebe eStuka uGadebe uzalwa nguMamfene ikhaya lingapha esigingqini eDikeni bangelihlayo lapha eNew Bright umna I'm part of the youth from New Brighton. Unfortunately I also studied tourism in P College, but now I'm an entrepreneur. My business is Y&M Services. I just want to say what Budlungelo is saying is true. I met Budlungelo through Facebook. Just a background story where I met him on Facebook. I was so interested in how he does his tourism products where he normally invites kids from red location to get involved. And I think that's an important part as the tourism needs to go inside the township, involve the youth inside the township, show them products, because we always have a broader mind that says tourism is all about hotels, it's all about the tour guides, but it's broad. It's broad, because even me, there's a lady that is situated in Central, where I supply her B&B with soap. So having those relationships, creating programs that show the youth of the township that these are the projects we need to create. Them getting involved in tourism, it also makes them aware that they need to protect sites because they too benefit from the tourism sites. But now if we're gonna just, when we having programs and we don't involve those youth people inside and say, come guys, do we have a product we want to showcase in tourism? Bring it in. Because I've been seeing now with the market flea from here in New Brighton, it's a good initiative. And I was even sharing once in one of our WhatsApp group, I'm saying that I'm so happy that seeing that in the market flea now, more youth are getting involved. And I think that having youth in so many programs, it will really bring change, both for the economy in Nelson Mandela Bay and also the tourism. I just want to touch base on that one. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Mtati, do you want to say something?
Yes, sir. But
Okay.
I just want to acknowledge first the work that has been done by the municipality and other stakeholders. But I think the challenge is the point of implementation and execution. Because there have been 3 studies in the past 24 months that have been conducted by the city and the chamber. One, the study done by the city was on the audit of township tourism. There's a copy that is available. So I think it's not just conducting studies, but it's the translation of those studies into actions. Because what's the point of doing studies if you're not going to do anything about it? So there's been a study on township tourism. There's been a study on tourism products audit for the city wide. Then the third one was the one conducted by the chamber on the feasibility of the establishment of a convention bureau to coordinate and promote events into the city. So that's a prelude to what I want to talk about. Now, so critical in these is the issue of tourism product development. Because if we are going to extend the stay of individuals, whether they are locals, domestic, or international, post-tourism, you must at least keep them in a city between 3 and 4 days. Then that stay is meaningful. But what are you going to do with them when they are here? If it is that you do not focus on tourism product development. So there are existing ones. So here, xa ungena apha eNew Bright, uqala ngeMendi, uza apha eMlothini. The first Defiance campaign was launched in New Brighton, a railway station. Ungagqitha uba uyafuna. If you go to Motherwell, you will find there the Mandela Park, where Eden Mandela first landed in the bay after his release. But it's just a park. So if anybody is to visit there, what is he visiting to do? And these things do not need millions in some instances. You can just, if you go to the waterfront in Cape Town, there are small statues of Nobel laureates that are there. So the idea that sometimes you need millions in order to develop products is also a fallacy. In Motherwell, on the Ado Road, there is a product developed by Kuch on the Craddock 4. So parts, it is not only just about product development, but it is about route development, which is what the MPDA has done in town. So, you go to Zwide, there's the Den Kuiper, the first privately owned stadium that has hosted political rallies and whatever else that you have. You go to Yutnik, there's Sondonga, there's many other things. You come to the northern areas, there's the first missionary in Bethelston. So it is not only about the development of product, but it is about the coordination and the development of a route so that the people, when they come in, they would know these are the activities to be undertaken. Now, in that study, there was the issue of unique proposition, training and development, quality and certification, visibility and marketing of the products, the use of technology in order to promote the the products. The second central issue was the communication among the stakeholders. So if you go to the UN development goals, there they speak about a strong partnership model. Now, you have established the community tourism forums, but what is the agenda that you have given to the community tourism forums? Because parts of it, I would have assumed, is the development of a strategy to build community ownership. If you are going to talk about safety, you are not going to talk about safety in the absence of the ownership of these products by the communities. Because if it is that they can destroy them, it is because of the level of disconnect and not ownership of. The juxtaposition of a demand for a house against a tourism product, which is a red location museum, is something that I can never have understood, because it supposes that there's a greater need than the other. So these are the kinds of conversations I could assume that the community tourism forums could actually be addressing in order for people to have an understanding, of what it is that they need to own as opposed to destroying. Because I've never, of course, people can speak about privilege. Here, two, 3, so these are the things that were here. And yet gives in you understand? So if we are going to talk about privilege, and because it is these lived-in experiences that we have. So it is giving agenda to the community tourism forums in order for them to be able to empower the communities. Njengezi states paisans that you need to draw the youth, because parts of where you get to the stage of the riots, it is because people do not feel any sense of ownership of anything. And when people lose hope, it is when they are able to participate in things that are related to destruction and so, because they don't have a sense that, one, they are available themselves, and two, they can contribute to the development of a society. The third issue that came out of that study was the issue of maintenance, cleanliness, and safety. Now, three things are related to this. One are the opportunities that are there that can arise as a consequence of us focusing on these things. Why not set up cooperatives that deal with different challenges in our society? Whether you have a cleaning one, you have a maintenance one, you have a safety one. You have, demobilized military veterans, that are existing here now, that are there. So your obligation perhaps is to help them to register security establishment so that they can take that other element. That is not only just for Lundar, but it makes sense for them to be able to, harness business opportunities out of that. So it is not only about the developments of things, but it is linked to the opportunities that may arise as a consequence of. Because these things are centered on an understanding that townships were designed purely to be residential areas, but what you need to do in order for you to transform them is to have economic nodes amongst them. Because in the absence of that, you have people that are migrating from Motherwell, spending whatever amount to town. They don't have a sense that Motherwell is theirs, because where is it? They work in town. They go to sleep in Motherwell. They go to sleep Kwanobutli, because there's no economic activity that takes place in the respective areas. So that's the primary challenge. But in conclusion, Chair, it is to say these things have been done, these things have been documented. The primary challenge is the execution, so that people have a sense that tomorrow is different from today and from yesterday. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mtat. Masimkhobele izandla. There were, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Nandi Pangoro. I stay in Motherwell. I'm in a Motherwell Tourism Forum. It's just that my hand was already up when the previous speaker spoke. So just to add on what he has already said. Maybe the letter that I should be writing again is supposed to be written in Xhosa, because when I write it in English, there's no response, and it's not taken seriously. As in Motherwell Tourism Forum, we've been attending meetings. Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism Forum, as you see, EU as a whole. I've already raised Indaba tourism awareness campaign, that how important it is. I even made an example of Soweto. You see a tourist ihamba ngenyawo eSoweto, ihamba ngenyawo, akho security, akho police ecankwayo, iyahamba ixwaye ikhamera yayo, instead umuntu uzawufika amxwayise la camera ahambe naye. The reason is that there's a tourism awareness campaign. Community knows exactly the benefit of that of that tourist visiting the area. For as long as siyibekela kude community, as a structure ngomso singafika siwile, because the community around does not know value, does not know what he or she is going to gain out of this. So for as long as sisayibhekelisile community, singazenzi community awareness campaigns, sisebenze ngengqondo ye-community kuqala before sibeke isithi sibeka this monument. Nansi i-Peace Park eMotherwell, i-soccer ground ngoku, kukhatywa ibhola phaya. It's not supposed to be like that. It is just not supposed to be like that. But indlela esingakhange siyenze i-groundwork ngayo. So into endiyibethelelayo mna kukuba sibuyele kwi-groundwork qala before sicinga uba sizawukwazi ukubeka izi-structures ezizawukwazi ukuba ne-value okanye zi-attracte i-tourist kwi-areas zethu.
There is a hand there and there is a hand. Let's start there and.
Oh yeah. Ngosi mhlala ngaphambili. Nxandi Lamani. I'm a tour guide and a tour operator. Thanks for the opportunity. Earlier there was a speaker, in fact it was you, Mike, who said out of this we must find a solution. And from MBDA, you made mention of language use. And from Odwa, you made mention of coordinated route and how do we put things together. Because the sad part of the township yet, how it was designed, it was meant as a labor hub, as an exporter, abasebenzi too out. So that according to a vibe, it's happening. If you come into New Brighton from Etilpat, Ulausi, coming from Mati, your hospital on the left, church office on the right, Ilausi. But it's true, when you're looking at the solutions and looking at the nature of a problem yet, what is the nature of our problem? When we talk of a crime, when Uvakasha tours makes mention of crime, yenzwa yintoni le crime? How do we begin to penetrate and look at solutions to that problem, your crime? It's a pity, in Nelson Mandela Bay, we've got weak political leadership. In fact, it's not there. As a result, officials who are seated here, who are doing a sterling work, their job is not recognized. 2 years ago, Mbulel, we had a meeting, now wherein we were looking at the nature of a problem here, security in the township. And we met at Centenary Hall, where, my background, then the chiefs are up, I'm a product of a struggle. Ukunaselo, besingamabuto up in your bright. Now we are part of a solution, so we know the nature of the problem. And when we sat in a meeting where we were saying, guys, poverty breeds a level of a crime at a level ongasoze we understand. And we know these are our brothers and sisters. A crime is not cool. Because baba thatha phone yakho bazayithengisa bafumana imali boyitye drugs. Then when we sat in that meeting, we crafted a program which seeks to come up with a solution. I'm a product of a street and area committee, wherein our people were participating in the safety of the city. Go to Lorraine, go to Westring, look at the neighborhood watch. How is it formed? Those are ex-policemen. Those are ex-policemen who have formed up their own companies and they are supported by Inatiki residents. We can do that, even up at Township, and we came up with that model. But unfortunately, officials cannot influence the political landscape. So, driving into a solution, Pramike, and to the House, I feel the next step is for us as the forums to take ownership. Unyansile order. You cannot reduce uOmrey or Uvuyisilemini to a tombstone. You cannot. If you talk of share, when you come, Emendi, you can Benawari, you look at the youngster, Mepa, Selipia along share Kulat. Iyamazo share Lendwan, he doesn't know. But if we build those statues where we will talk and give stories, because each and every one of us seated here has a story to tell. The reason why I took up tourism, because I wanted to tell my own story. Because when my son asked me one question, Tata waubanjele ndoni, I had to give out the whole story, Salo, Nansiga, struggle said. So the solution lies here, Pramike. Let us not despair, but let's put more action and more programs out. Those studies is Anna's or my daughter. Is it Peba? What's that? No, it's Anna's. Mazizanas. Because we can action them. We can action them. Thanks, Chef.
I thank you. Let me first greet all of the executive, the representative of the tourism at the front, and all the constituencies that attended here on behalf of the tourism. Let me first start by introducing myself. I am Kunase Tembile Kenneth Dlala, born and bred in Port Elizabeth, New Brighton, Edubula, not a Kraken, and Shalfletten, and Kim Martin. You see, Umnandifuna Uguti Pramike, I think Subana Kubekona such an event of this nature. Sorry. One thing I wanted to grapple with is that to what extent does the Department of Tourism and Economic Development can actually make pragmatism on implementation of whatever been drafted? There are some programs, there are some policies, there are like these photos on the wall. Can't tell me nonsense, man. You know? Yeah, so me myself, I'm a former brought by Paul Elizabeth Youth Congress and the COSAS. I've later became a militia combatant. We've engaged the enemy here. But Comrade Kandi, I wanted us not to reduce ourselves unto the lamentations. Is little guys, the guy Jeremiah are gone now. Let us be practical. And to what extent can that at least la pragmatism ideal scenario can be nurtured or be incubated vis-a-vis with the need of a training? Yeah, it's glad you can't, they've got a badge here. You see? Yes, me, I'm not legal. I'm a military veteran. And I've got all on my head that I can contribute on tourism. And once more, I've so fortunately I've been there in Motherwell. I attended the forum of Motherwell. But the point is this, my fellow brother, is that when they see us who are gray like this, they think that at least we cannot actually come up with dynamic things. They are looking for the young people. I'm talking about the tourism department. Then now I'm broad, Mnandimbaga. I'm a bird that used to fly. You can't confine me in the cage of Motherwell because I'm belonging there. Because I've got the history and I don't have to lie. I can articulate the tourism liberation heritage route. So mine here, as I stood before you guys, is that I've got the vision along these Lanuga monument graves, that we've got the people that have been maimed, killed, and we have got the names in political activism, that we can create a big wall like this, like Pabunoya Paikula Park, Elangene, St. George's. If I'm looking there in building is designed, and therefore no information. So as is craft, but we need to have archives also here in the township, and so that at least we can actually give education or give information. Here, in these grave sites of our heroes, those old men, there is a gate there. Why can't we design that place and make something there? Let me go to the case now of security sustainability of this land. For a tourist like you can't see, it can't feel all right, a tourist, to see somebody along with him is protecting with a gun. And then now, drone. We can make use of a drone. For now that at least we see most the turmoil of crime is too high. But our intervention there on crime is that first and foremost, economic development has got a dovetail with tourism. Job creation strategy for these Maparas country. Mapara, you see, these young guys out of school, doing something and engaging the political office and the office of the department to make them active on job creation strategies. But they must be convinced that at least here is an area that must be maintained, must be sustained. So we are there, comrades, and you brothers. I know sometimes you are skeptical about this word of comrade. We are there as a veteran, have got many ideas. We can sit down because I cannot take out what I have in my chest and in my mind in this scenario. But we are there having a liberation strategy, heritage, maintenance, and sustainability. And also the route. From my council of pants, so the problem, the people are taking information on history, which is there distorting it. It's because we're not there. To what extent can you make us to be there? And also capacitating us. So as a page, my brother. So as you talk guys, no must like at least I can page. You see? Because up there was this cafe. There was no joy per se up. There was this cafe. I was young, that kilo up in footage, that better can get me and that's why I like up is cave. So we've got at least the potential. Come along with us and be part of the solution. Don't put us at arm's length like this so-called politician Johnny come late in this politics. Thank you, Bramike. Sure.
Thank you, Con. Masimkhobelizana. But mandithethe kon lento ithi oxhanti nolungelo nobani and noluvo and all the tour operators zithi we must be legal. We must not talk about these things without papers. Imoto iqhutywa nge-license. Nam ndibanjwe ngomaqhubelo oduma ndabanjwa ngalamadoda osiyo bathi if ndithetha kakhulu about tourism okhenketho I must have papers. At least I do have papers. Andikuhlebi Mr. Lamani ndithi you are saying to everyone tourism is big business. Abantu mababe legal. Ndithi ke ngoku nam I am legal. Naba oduma nosiyo bayayingqina loo nto ba I am not driving a car without a license. So if you want to be part and parcel of this industry, asibena wamaphepha. But thank you very much. I think your contribution was good enough for the session. Let's look at your.
Is my mic okay now? Okay. First of all, I think from our side, we need to start a fresh approach. We have seen the tourism of yesterday, before COVID. That has not worked. Products were developed by hard work by, say, locals of that particular area. But you'll find out now, the same products will come and outside and consume those products without working hand in hand with the product developers or route developers from that particular area. We can't, I think the most pertinent area here is the LTA, because the local tourism forum, which is a community forum. Because we're talking security, we're talking community involvement. All these sit within that community forum. The community forums, they stay within that area. They understand the dynamics and the crime level, the crime activities within the area. They are the product owners, meaning they will need to protect their products that they need to be consumed by others in their area. Yes, the Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism Department facilitated, we'll call it facilitated, the creation of the LTAs, which is a community tourism forum. Having them there sitting, what are they doing? Do they have, because a LTA is got a daily duty. There's someone at the office who needs to be talking to clients, who is building a product, who's got so many rooms now, who's doing what, who are we developing, different kind of programs. Like the program that Mr. Mike is talking about, who are going the next term for their guide trainings. How many are need of money? Where can we source that money? How can we work together to make sure that they are graded? We've got tourism in township, you can also township tourism. In a tourism space, we call tourism community tourism. It might not be sound clear to an international what is a township. Then it's basically community tourism. Yes, in South Africa we call it township because there are unique challenges that are directed to township. That needs you to look at it in a township eyes and be able to fix it with a hope of bringing it into a world-class type of a setup. Township, what is happening in the township? What are the products of township? There's no such thing as a product of township. Township hosts all the 8 domains of tourism. We can have attractions. There are sites, we can go look for attraction within the township. There's accommodation. You can go and get your B&B within a township. There is restaurant. You can go your Chisanyama, have a restaurant within a township. Adventure. We can have something quad bikes and township F1 quad bike race here. That can happen within a township. We've got other services that are related, that are services like your people who are sending your eyes to your restaurant, the people who are supplying the value chain of the tourism sector. The safety element being one of the key elements of it. If we first not understand that, the key stakeholder then becomes the community, because that's where the products have been consumed. If that environment is not really taken into account as a very high stakeholder, then who are the police or the people who are responsible for the community? Is the community tourism forums. They are the ones who are the top 2 people, and the information, they take the information from their community, from their streets, from within their nearby area. That information sits in that community tourism forum. It is again, if that data is being able to be used, it can then disseminate again as a product, and disseminate to a directed point where it's gonna give value. And then the products, we talk about product development. We won't be able to succeed if we want to go around and just do product development. It needs to be in confines of what are we planning to do, which way the route will do, what stories are there. So we need to analyze that. Where is the place to do that? It's again, the community tourism forum where they all meet, the product owners. We talk, this is what we want to do. Okay, we've got products, and this product, yours, okay, if sitting there. And sometimes we find out your PNP is not within the route. You must be able to be flexible and say, look, there's another product that you can offer. Because this, you can still have your part in this particular route. Because it's going to be turning on left and right, it won't be able to go there into your part. Then what can I participate on? There are a lot of things that you want to do. Those things will not be coming out now, but those things have a house, which is the community tourism forums, to be spoken to. With the inefficiency of the community tourism forums doesn't lie in the participants, because they were just handed the name. They were never given the how to operate them. They were never even given the resources, which is what are their resources? And I'm not talking about giving them maybe 100 or 200,000 1 year, and then you think they will flourish. There is no such. We need a consistent, it must be a plan, a 5-year plan. If they're going to be 200,000 every year, so that but what is doing it? That 200,000 talks to to the need of its actions. As talking to its needs of its action, what are the things that will keep us at it? Because we're not going to be dependent on government. We can't be that means not sufficient. Yes, government can be one of the stakeholders. How do we make ourselves self-sustainable as LTAs, as local community for tourism forums? First of all, we will need the VICs, the Visa Information Centers. Because if I'm coming to PE, I've never been to PE in Indaba. I want to, new price I went, another day. Going to what is being said earlier on, that no one's going to stay for 3 days if there are no products. Where do we hear those products? La VIC. But no put him on Guyana and I jazz at night and I went if man at one place, which is the VIC. Then now what is happening? It's happening a business referral amongst each other now. We are creating our own economy amongst each other. If you say, even if you see a foreign business coming outside, we concern you must come stop at if not aligned with us, you must come talk to us first, align with it, because that goes with its safety. Because if something happens to it without consulting us, it means it will give a bad reputation of the area. So we need to make sure all the stakeholders coming to township and procuring township products must consult with the township community forums and have an engagement. And there should be a enterprise development element on it. we will talk to, who are then these tourists we're talking to? Tourist doesn't have a face. A tourist is me going to East London, actually 3 days. I'm a tourist. Then I'll open the Monday, let's come to a Monday. Then we come back with another weekend with 3 or 4 of us. But depending, what am I consuming there? What is am I consuming? There's people with different taste. What am I consuming? So that means now every visitor, so who are these tourists? Every visitor that comes as a tourist. Because tourism is an experiential industry. So visa command, and this thing is natural to nabantu bamnyama to host someone. It's basically hosting. And to host someone in a very higher level of it. It comes natural. So we must take into cognizance that that's why we can lead in that sector. We have differentiated now. We have actually declared clearly that township and villages are a subsector on its own. This is where the subsector, it's a subsector. And if you look at international tourists currently, there's a tourist that is maybe coming from have consumed South African products like Table Mountain, your Kroger. They've done it 5 times. They've been asking, when are we bringing new products South Africa? Then what is going to happen now? We will not now sit as a preferred destination as the country because people are coming consuming the same products over and over again. So there lies an opportunity for us, for the country's GDP, whereby we are able to say, yeah, we are building, it doesn't say we are not building new products. I don't want you to focus and try to fix what we have, take the core of it, but we're going to fix it, we'll start fresh again. Because it's a new world now, and we need to be, because in the past, we were not quite clear. We need to own our products. We need to have pride with our products. And our products are not going to be sold nilly-nilly by who and who, just doing a fake product of our product. They must consult with and work with us so that the authenticity and indigenous knowledge that we have, it still stays there. That becomes now so that we can be able and compete with your Malaysians of this world, with your Indias, with your other countries. How do we do that? There's the LTA. The LTA, yes, now I've spoken, the LTA is that we've understood it is the key enabler, and then we said they must be self-sustainable. What do we mean by self-sustainable? We've talked the one of business referral. Can be business referral, as NMPT is doing now with they've been doing with the pass card. In terms of the commission base, that everybody's going to still make it the VIC sustainable. On the second element, the infrastructure of government that is sitting like this one, if the stakeholders should be the community forum, they should be the first one to be considered. And they should also benefit on the profit accrued by this, so that keep them sustainable. It must be a partnership, a pure partnership. So if they don't own it, remember that government is not the player, but the practitioner of the East industry. They've got the structure. But the people, if you give it to a community tourism forum, they know who's going to do what, they will make it sustainable because it's their livelihood. They depend on it. You will see by action and the enthusiasm that they will put into this place. And with that being said, we will now we're giving them the community forum, we've given them the infrastructure to operate. Yes, they build the products, going to the infrastructure, they head to the product. There's a VIC that is operating. Now, where are we selling them to? Where are these tourists? Yes, I've talked to the domestic, whereby I said anybody's a tourist, everybody's experienced. But where are they now? How do we communicate with them? Yes, we've got this product. Yes, we've got this structure. But where are they? How are they coming here? Obviously, we not go out and go just market and just say where you are. So we need to be, markets need to be open for us. Remember that it is sometimes intentional to close the market. It's not because you are missing a point. There are people who've gone business even closed, but they are frustrated because the market is not opened up, which is not transformed. So we need a transformed industry. I'm happy to say at least today everybody is waking up, but that a transformed South Africa, it means a secure South Africa, it means a safety South Africa, it means a economy boosting South Africa. Remember that when we are talking, we are disengaged. Tomorrow, we have a tourism transformation dialogue. It's going to be held in Constitution Hill in Johannesburg as the Southern Township. We're going to have the vice chairs of all of SAT. We've got the vice chair of Orlando, of Jenny. We've got the NTT, we've got South African tourism.
There the intent is that the market must be open. The buyers must be introduced to buyers. Because the challenge is we go to the tourism in Indaba. But when you go to the tourism in Indaba, you'll find yourself going around the hall and everything, because you're not there to sell, because sale has already been done. There is a meet and greet platform. The deal was made a while ago, way before that. Who introduced us to the international market? That South Africans, it's not because you lack anything here really, it's because why would maybe, let's say, there'll be a new person coming from England and he will do a better business than you? It's because he's got relations in England. You don't have. You first have to introduce that, and who are you? Then, so you don't have relations with a friend whereby the most tourists come from, which is of course the international buyers come from. So that is the first hurdle that you have. And you don't know the culture, you don't know, and they will be more, maybe reluctant a bit to talk to you alone, unless you've got maybe a component who's affiliated to them. So we're saying that let's open up the market. The inbound clients now with SATA already, whereby with the market, whereby there's going to be this enterprise development of marrying the LTAs with inbound. Also introducing to buyers. Make sure that we introduce it direct to buyers. Working closely with the established, the untransformed entities, which is now they are starting to willing to transform. Another sector whereby, now I was international, I was on private sector type of approach of the market. There's also a market in the public sector, whereby government must procure, if they're doing their events, they must come do in the township events. If they bring someone who's going to sleep over, they must make sure that someone sleep over in the township. We want that so that we adhere to the PE code of conduct. So the transformation of the procurement, we need to, the forum will talk to the procurement of, we need to set up in the procurement of government. Well, that's the biggest challenge, because only if government transforms, I'm telling you that we'll have a leg to stand on and be able to climb to the international market. Then what is the solution? And then what is the, now it's the market. So how is it? It's the market, it's the market. But how do we reach now the market? What tool do we use? Now, we've got a platform whereby it's an online platform. You've got your booking.com of this world. You've got your Amadeus of this world. The booking engine of this world. Where is ours? What we have done now, we have struck a deal with partnership with Jenny, whereby we will have a software, booking a software whereby you're going to even pay on the software to upload only township and village tourism products. Because that is the interest of the international. They're looking for authentic South African products. Whereby, if I go to the site, sure, this one does not, it's a transformed entity, and it hosts indigenous and authentic product that talks to our culture, who South Africans are. Remember, we are the South Africa. If someone says South Africa, we are the 80% in majority in terms of number. They cannot be South Africa without us. And I want us to adopt that idea that nothing for us without us. Nothing for us without us is very important. And from sitting here now, from today, how are we now going to be engaging further? I want us that to be clear so that we know that there's because the tourism committee will meet, and then we'll raise the issues. Because I'm working with it. We'll raise the issues, and then the stats that will come, the stats will decide, because we'll talk to stats. Then those stats will then come with the idea. Then we must have I would say a desk that can be informal desk, a desk whereby we continually, monthly, we engage monthly, because this development will happen monthly. Then you'll start to have the enthusiasm of the people actively. And you can also understand what is happening on the other side. And we are more than willing to come and do workshops to the politicians about tourism. We welcome that, if you can just do that, to come to ask us to go to the council, to the councillors, to take them authority, because they are the what councillors, they are the owners of that's where the community forums are sitting. They need to understand the value of tourism quite clearly, because if tourism works, it means everything works, to water supply, to ukudya, to indlela, to safety, to all the things. When tourism works, everything else works. Thank you very much.
Mr. Vando, over to you, sir.
A lot has been said that it will sound as if I'm repeating talks. So yes, my neighbor has ended on a high note, maybe I should just bring the house down a bit. Back to la ncoko yethu about our tourism as a city and our locations where we are and how we package our products to reflect who we are. I'm very sentimental on the fact that a lot of times, because of what happened in the past, we have been forcibly removed where we used to be to where we are now. And we've made that place home. And because of who we are, because we have got a lot of culture within us, we've turned our spaces into what these spaces are, into a vibrant space, a cultural space, because we have made peace with the fact that we are where we are at that point in time, at this point in time. So I never want to then cut ties when I say tourism in totality and township tourism. And I don't mean that in a sense that I'm not aware of the challenges which are unique to our townships. But it is me reflecting on the very fact that we ended where we ended because of what happened. And we make peace with it. We've turned our spaces into these vibrant spaces that can drive economy where we are. What I haven't seen is a true looking at products and investing on products. It's all good and well, we can set up forums and give them mandates which are not even clear to the forums themselves, and for them to grapple with the fact that, okay, we are in a position where there's an expectation from us. And for us, I think it's easy for us as officials to say, here's a forum or here's a committee, I'm washing my hands, I'm no longer responsible. So I'll call in a meeting every second week to get an update from a forum, which is very unfair. Because as an official, I'm getting paid on the 25th of every month. There's a car that is being paid by the municipality that I can use to go to these people that I have to go to engage. And somehow I always feel as if we are easy to pass on our responsibilities to these forums that are also not too sure exactly what is our role and function and mandate. So when I move back a bit into how do we then empower those forums? For me, I feel as if even when you have set up a forum, there has to be a level of engagement which goes even further than that in investing on the forums and in more time spent on finding and developing and investing on the products. It's easy to find products in the areas where we live, and it's very easy. This is not a complicated, which needs a huge amount of money. It's easy to investigate and find out by using what already exists in the community to do a mapping of what exists in the community and investing of what exists in the community to build up those tourism products. That's one thing. And then you come back a bit and you look at what the city promotes and brand as the city. Recently we went through a name change of the city, right? So people were, there was a 50% saying, yay, 50% say, don't, no, don't. I was on the 50% that said, good. Because that for me personally is a reflection of myself. I get to see myself in my city, which is very important. So immediately I thought, okay, there's got to be soon if you go on the municipal site, on tourism sites, there's an image that shows, you can easily see the image. Oh, that's PE. You know that's PE because of the branding that the city has for the city, right? So I immediately thought, okay, after the name change, there has to be a branding exercise of what the city is now at this particular point in time. How am I being reflected into the new name, Indaba? Because that's not going to change, right? And I felt, okay, here's an opportunity to then rebrand the city and encourage more tourism products. So in the past, there used to be a curio shop somewhere where the city was merchandising that the city's name and the products. And you used to find those things in the airport. So all the crafters used to make craft work, et cetera, et cetera. So there was a merchandising business for the city that all went away. So I felt, okay, with the name change, there might be a new look and feel and branding exercise that is a true reflection of everyone in the city, to start maybe a refresh and reboot on the tourism aspect of the city, which I still have not seen. And I say that to mean that whilst I'm very empathetic on what has been projected on us in our township, I'm not comfortable to only look at that, because I make reference into where my family ended up in Motherwell. That was not our first home when we lived in this city. We used to live where we used to live. Consequences and things happen that forced us to move from where we were to where we are. So hence I'll always go back to, when I'm saying tourism, I mean tourism. I'm not going to project myself to the circumstances that forced me and pushed me from where I used to live to where I'm currently living. So when I say tourism, I will still maintain it's tourism. It's got to work for the city and wherever you are located in the city. And plus, we have to put our money where our mouth are. Don't set up tourism forums and give them a mandate which is not clear. Put investment into these things. Put resources. Put time, put a bit of care and empathy and understanding that it takes a little bit longer for us to move forward because of where we are and where we come from. Have patience. Takes a bit longer.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, someone once said to me, if you want to eat an elephant, you must eat it piece by piece. Now, before I give anyone else, ingathi uvumba lembongo uyatshiseka pha. Andazi noba mhlawumbi ubona uazwe livumile. Loo nto andiyazi noba namhlanje omchenge bafuna uhlala bobabini na. I think you can respond, ma'am. Just you know, to touch around few issues, mhlawumbe kuthiwe mazike zibethwe apha ezibethwe you know.
Uyandisukela.
Hayi.
Eyona nto uyenzayo kundisukela. But kuba ke sowundisukele, I don't, am I audible? Oh, okay. I think, firstly, let me again appreciate the discussion around the house. And the one thing that I am picking up is that we all know what the problem is, and we all know what possible solutions are there. The biggest question that we must come out of this discussion having answered is, how do we start? When do we start? Because it is good and well to identify issues. It is good and well to know that there are solutions, but the how part and the when part is what we need to unravel. You know, the one issue that touches me is the issue of crime. And I think, ED, we must take it upon ourselves as a city to use to take out Ipara from being Ipara and allowing Elapara to be someone who is useful to the community. Because you find that a lot of young people in our townships who end up in drugs, who end up in criminality, are just young people who need an opportunity. If an opportunity is not presented to you, you will sit and find something else to do. if your mind and your path of thinking is not molded, you will find other things to fill it. So I think, ED, if we can, going forward, take that challenge upon ourselves. We have tourism ambassador programs that not necessarily every young person knows about. And that is a failure from our side as a city. Because you can imagine and draft policies and write things down, but if they're not reaching the person whom they have to reach, then it's pointless. So I think from our side as a city, we take everything that is being said and we take it seriously. And I'm promising now, I don't know what's happened after October, but at least from now until then, ED, I think we should work on firstly ensuring that people know what is available. Young people know what is available so that we can begin to change the status quo. I think Mandiega would pronounce it.
Nkosi, Sibengafuni, I did not want to change the topics, but I think right now, number 2, in my discussion topics, upendulwe number 1. Let me give 2 or 3 speakers, 3, then I'll start with Sean. Okay, I'll start with you. Mambani, you'll introduce yourself. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I will introduce, half of my speech will be in Xhosa. Ndiyacela. Igama lam nguFrancine Zana, ndizalelwe eNgqura, ndihlala eMotherwell, born and raised in Motherwell. Some of you will know my story. I'm the one who started in the hospitality industry as a cleaner and worked my way up into management level, but now I am the owner of Exclusive Hospitality Concepts, which is an award-winning company. It is an award-winning company nationally and internationally. I'm mentioning this because kudala ndibawela le leadership ilapha kule room. I'm mentioning the awards part because I feel like I need to motivate someone in this room today who was not supported by the municipality or government. I started my company with my own money. I'm self-funded. I was never funded by no one. I was never supported by no one. But I stand tall today and I'm proud to be from Motherwell and Port Elizabeth. But Nancy Ingagi, we're talking about programs, we're talking about tourism, we're talking about zonke ezizinto. I have a question today. Sizisaphi proposals for programs that will benefit abantu bethu. I'll tell you why. I'm from PE, but I'm recognized everywhere in South Africa. I am booked in Gauteng. I am booked in Limpopo to go train B&B owners because that's my speciality. And the knowledge that I have, I'm more corporate. I don't know any government related work. So mine is to go in and say, Mama, this is how you run your B&B, because I've worked for hospitality companies like Mantis Collection, you name them. I've worked with the giants and now today I'm assisting others. So here's the thing. I have programs that I'm doing. Now I'm from Motherwell and it's said we have kids, abachaya, itiki, nabantwana pregnant at a very young age. I've been to the office yopungi and say, guys, I am running this special program. I will run it for free. All I need from the municipality is a hall. Iholo. Nithengele abantu noba i-sandwich ne-juice. That will cost 35 rand. And I've met all the previous MEC, MMC, whatever you name them. And I know there's no, but we have a budget issue. But if the municipality can give us the basics, simple thing like a hall. Abantwana bethu, we can give you skill, we can give back. I give back to my community, but it is so sad that skill from the Eastern Cape, Disiplanta eDurban, disiplanta Cape Town, disiplanta Gauteng. It's not a matter of being recognized. And for no recognize on the right on my own. But there's some things that you look at programs and be like, Lento iyaniteka, where I'm coming from. We're talking about township tourism. Okay, fine. Kukho forums. I feel sometimes we're setting our people for disaster. Nifaga abantu bethu ku BNB space. Most of the black-owned BNBs, those people don't have experience in the hospitality sector. That is the truth. Umama ovuke, watata indlu yake wayiconvert, thinking that running a BNB, it's all about toast, neti, whatever that you serve, beans, that is it, bed and breakfast. They don't have the know-how. There is no knowledge. See, now we have the knowledge. Unfortunately, as come enough for basithathu sibanceda abantu bethu. And we're watching into kuzawuthathwa abantu bafakwe. Uzibuze lo muntu akanayina experience hospitality in the industry, but uzawuzirana zonke programs ze metro. And sikhona says avela free because we want the municipality or the department to believe in us. I always go to that office and say, it's so sad because you can call National Department of Tourism in Pretoria. They know who Francine is. I have won the Lizella Awards. I'm at Standard Bank Top Women in South Africa. And I am acknowledging that Tina Nisnika in the platform to plow back and help Abamama. Hospitality and tourism is bleeding, Sean. Everyone knows that. I'm not hearing of a program that is assisting BNBs. This is what you do now. You don't run your BNB as a BNB. We have black owners who don't even know that they can register the properties on Airbnb or booking.com. They don't know those things. They don't know the importance of marketing and PR. We are here. We even go to white-owned BNBs. I do that. I consult for them. I consult in Cape St. Francis everywhere. And then I come to my leaders and say, I need a venue. I have this thing. I want to train them for free. Dololo venue. I have been to Uputu Oyama. And luckily enough, he listened to me and he gave me a venue. But unfortunately, I had a booking in Cape Town. It's very sad. We are exposed. Now we need to teach our product that it's your business. You need to invest in it. Yes, the government must give you 5% or 20% in terms of assisting you. But when as a business owner, you also need to invest. And it's also very important to build your brand. I have built my brand. I started my business 2012. I just came back from Ghana. Nobody created any connections for me. I'm not connected. I'm not politically connected. I don't have an uncle or an aunt who's a leader somewhere. I'm just a young girl from Motherwell. So now I'm linked. I linked myself. If I say there's a tourism event, was of Mano Francine, they booked me today as a speaker. It all started from the bottom. Sinita uteach abantu betu the right way of doing things. Siya ku create programs that will benefit certain individuals. Will just come in and say tick, 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 it's done. And there comes the money in the bank. It's disaster. I can talk until Jesus come back. But Sisia, you are from Motherwell. I have really been trying to, let's do something. You come back and go today.
Thank you. Into endithanda ngawe inye uthe ucela uthetha isiXhosa awukhumshanga mani walala nangecala. Thank you. Sean, you raised a hand.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, that was Moy. Love that energy. I must tell you, folks, that I'm excited about township tourism. I have been for the last 2 years, but maybe not before that from what was happening. I'm excited because firstly, we've got an MMC that doesn't just read speeches. You feel her ooze passion. She is so passionate, and I know she's going to make a difference. And then the ED's team is very special as well. So I'm encouraged, I'm excited about it. The community tourism forums are building their skills. It's good to see. We're talking about product development, Mike, so I want to relate there. the community tourism forums got together and they nominated Warmer Township as the first route we would look at. And this is where I want to say to everyone, we've got to look at what tourists are looking for now. So as an example, in Warmer, there was a young lady that was killed by a tear gas canister that was fired. We're not going to build a monument to her because it doesn't involve tourists. We'll be making a 4D movie that tells the whole story of that. Instead of the tour operator just talking along the way, there'll be actors who are trained in Warmer Township who will jump on board and act out certain of the roles. That regards Steve Biko and various other people there. So the challenge for us with product development is to create immersive, hands-on, involved experiences for tourists. So as an example here, I seem to have come to the conclusion that the resistance, the street committees, the underground and everything started here in New Brighton and in Lunga and Uteneg. Imagine creating an experience exactly the same as it happened there, where the street committees met and having a person acting as man of that, and the audience is the tourists. And they become part of how that was created. Yeah, that's what we want. We don't just want the story of how those were created. We want people to become part of it and feel part of it. So that's where we've got to go. We've got to go to saying, how can we involve people in an experience? Not just show them things, but make them part of it. And I just wanted to relate, Mike, to product development on that. And the development of skills for the product as well. The MMC is just motivated through a resolution with budgets and that through the mayoral council, which has training, it has product development, it has this 4D movie in it. So there's momentum. And I think if we all think together and work together, if we take the example of what's happening in Warmer Township and get them to talk to the others about how it's working. We all brainstorm together and we come up with things. There is so much that we can do, and you've got the people now to do it. So we've got a year now to really make a difference. And I think we can, and I really do believe.
Thank you very much. My name is Mawetu Platye. Ndingujola ungwanya uqengeba itholo umthwakazi ngizalwa ngumamjola. Khaya semtanzana kodwa ngolapha eBhayi. I've got two direct questions to Department of Tourism here in Port Elizabeth. You've mentioned that you're working on the strategy to market all activities that will be taking place in the township. We're talking the township tours where you walk with the guest, but my concern is, before you even start with that, putting that package together, do you have a strategy for safety? Because number one, you look at me, for example, I'm a culture and nature guide in a township, doing a city tour with 5 international tourist guests. 2, 4 or big guys, they will look at me, they wouldn't think twice about robbing us. That's point number one. My question repeats again. Do you have a strategy for safety, for our safety as guides, so that we have confidence to take international tourists to the townships? Thank you.
Bendizawuthi ke mandicele apha because engathi bese kuthethiwe ngendlela yento bana kunokwenzeka kanjani into yokubana abakhenkethi bakhuseleke. But andizokuphendula ke mna, kodwa bendizawucela mhlawumbi apha eqongeni into yobana kubekho umuntu just ozawuthi respond to that question, because apha besiqale ngo-9 and it is about 11 o'clock, and I don't want us to get out of this session or this meeting ngobo-1. So bendizawucela ke if mhlawumbi apha eFlorence unobakho umuntu who can.
Oh, okay, Bramaki, for a way forward, Bramaki, bendizawuthi on your closing remarks, you know, we could be able to deal with some things that we spoke about. For the sake of time, Bramaki, I'm sure when it goes or close remark, we will try and take care of that question as well. And depend on Bramaki, benzamuthi wena Nyawoza, we can, for the sake of moving forward, in our closing remarks, I'll say on my closing remark, it's one of the things that I want to tell you. So we'll make sure that I deal with the question from Mama Wetu.
Okay, I want to ask Mr. Makubela as well. I'm sure he can respond to that. And then from Mr. Makubela, sizawuza kwilento closing remarks, and mhlawumbi ke those closing remarks sizawusisa kuMr. Makwala.
Okay. Yeah, it's a gumbuzo. It's a very pertinent question. Then I safety, as it has already been discussed. Yesterday, I had a privilege of attending the Provincial Tourism Transformation Forum, which was attended by CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. And one of the issues that was raised there at a national level was the safety issue. Yeah, well, at a national level, by a national. Okay. So the safety element really does have some effects in terms of paralyzing the tourism industry. And now I was actually looking, scanning through his speech, like what would be maybe the proposed solution to it, you know, coming from the national level. But now I couldn't find anything really other than that all the tourism players need to play a role in this. You know, this responsibility cannot be assigned to one municipality, cannot be assigned to SAPS, cannot be assigned to anyone. And as such that when I actually analyzed his narration was that it's not a question of apprehending the culprits, but ensuring that there are preventative measures in terms of coming to issue tourism safety. So it's a very pertinent issue really, because it affects to an extent that when you were raising this issue, actually I think that the issue came up a bit earlier on about safety versus township. My personal experiences with tourism issues in terms of safety in Donkin, parking my car there, you know, minding my own business. The tourists park on my right-hand side on my car. They parked there, coming to the Donkin area. They looked at me because I was sitting in my car, and they quickly locked their doors, you know. So to me, I was like, hey, come on, you know, irritation. But the tourism in me kicked in and said, that they are fine, that's right, you know, they're doing the right thing in terms of locking their doors. Because really you can never be too secure. Within 2 or 3 minutes, there was a polo car parking on my left-hand side, and the gentleman jumped out of the polo car, approached the tourist, asking these guys, have you paid your parking meter, you know? And the guys said, no, we haven't. They said, no, you have to come with us to go and park. So, and I jumped out of the car, in my impulse just kicked in me. I jumped out of the car, said, I'm putting myself now in that situation, you know. So, and as well, there are many instances where I was actually not. So in that saying, the issue of tourism, I was just thinking when when Mike, in terms of how do we structure this, as we're discussing, I've been in this space for some time, looking at the Villagas. If Villagas is street, okay, well, it's the best model, everybody refers to Villagas. How did they come about? Yeah, but unfortunately for me, I know a person there who operates a Villagas, direct cousin of mine, doing well at Villagas. But if Villagas, what makes it special? Tutu House, Mandela House. Those are the pools of that area, ne? Fine. Businesses are mushrooming around there, but it's a strategic position. This guy, what happened is that his parents died. You know, when he was young, he was forced to go there. He started to cook meals for his friends, and then that culminated to a business. And then, okay, that's entrepreneurship because he saw the gap. He said, okay, the bus is coming up and down there, then let me cook and then, go dress smartly, sell myself. There was no tourism guiding by then. And then what happened is that the government, the provincial government with the local government, they saw opportunity. They recognized him, they flight him up, they use him as an awareness tool in terms of ensuring that you can benefit from tourism. He exploited that, he maximized on that exploitation, whereby he sold himself, and then other people, they saw that he is doing well in terms of business. And then that culminated, I've been going there every time, looking at it grow, looking at it grow, grow. I think now there are about 17 restaurants there. He was the only one there. So I joke and I thought, okay, can we perhaps, just for control, have a precinct approach in terms of tourism development, whereby we can control a space and then ensure that it's Dubula, Nyuka, and then we duplicate it to another area and another area. That was just my thinking. But it's not informed by any studies on anything because they born by okay, amba. In that really, when I first got there, tourists, they were moving to Eastern Cape in the Park. No, man, tourists are moving up and down freely here. There's a concerted effort here in terms of ensuring this starts very short street. There's a concerted effort here to ensure that if Villagas, and as such, that if Villagas was the only street having paving, that is government, only street that have Imigomo, but all the other streets feeding to. They were not that developed because they saw the economic value of that street. So that was my approach. Now that approach was talking to tourism, but Kwalang, Kapa, as I'm saying that any product a developer might not really be earmarked for a tourist. Umzoli, when I was there, I used to go there on weekends. So I used to go there during the weekends. But in my going to Umzoli was never developed to target a tourist. Never. And then tutus, okay, fine, tourists, they figure Hilton, Ross, bus, then they look, and then my tourism, wherever I go, I always wear that transparent cap of tourism. They got dropped there, tourists back to a town, they hire a car and they drive back to Kwamzoli. I engage with them for Kwamzoli. Okay, now Umzoli this, and then Umzoli develop up until no a must go to place. Not only for the international, but the domestic tourists. Anybody. I know so Tata Amaza, a DJ there. I have to go to Umzoli. All right. So that it started off, then they are developed again to be that place. So now it's a control space. It's a controlled space, and then as such, what developer omapindi, what developer no milk, coping that concept comes out. Because Umzoli was the only place. That's Sukatina Walanga, say cooks, Kwamzoli. So those me tell a lie. So I'm trying to say when Mike, in terms of township tourism. But in the such that not to my toy might take in terms of control, whereby because of heavy investments into it precinct development. I think it's a good, I will say, pilot or a tester to ensure that the tourism do not against it. I used to engage no. It looks, you know what? It's soft investment. Soft investment, apho ungagaleli imali kakhulu because ke nyhani ke there's a diciness to it. Why don't you have, man, packages that are selling and as such as champion as tour operators or tour guides? Tour guides, it's easy. You take people with your car and stop here and tell them, and then you package that. It will culminate to a route. Xa ephuma uBraxhanti, uyangena uLungelo ngeyakhe imoto. We are selling this route. Xa ephuma uBraxhanti, uyangena uNatsika. You are selling this route. Uyabona? That is a soft one. That is a soft one. Eniyenzayo nje i-champion one. Tour operators or tourism players. And as such, uzawushukuma umasipala, yabo? Uzawushukuma umasipala de ayathengisa lento. And now we are living in a very digital space. Because I remember, okay, quick one. NMBT in the city, we were pushing Charles Fuba Park NMBT. Let's push in Atsika, Township tourism month, launch. Yabo? One try out Titus, but what they are, give me something to sell. Don't soon tell nje. And after that, because it's a fact, you did not have a developed indoors by then. What I heard is that in New Brighton, you reach in this, in reach that, but and nanto that is tangible, that is out there. So and as such, if that's gonna come from the bottom, as tour operators, they own this route. They own this route. Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism, when they sell this route. Nelson Mandela Municipality, when they develop informed by the viability of that route. Eastern Cape Parks and Tourism, route. National Department, we are talking about this route. So it's coming from below and community partnership because Braxhanti or looks lap. They know the buttons to press. But in terms of abantu buy in. So yeah.
Mr. Mtati, okay, these will be our last speakers from the floor. I will have Sisi, kunye no Zwelivelile, then Ize Apa Pezulu, then Mr. Makwabe. Thank you. Over to you, Sisi.
Good morning to everyone. Protocols are observed. Mna ndinguthandokazi kaMbane. I do want to correct that. I think someone said Ndinguthando something that was different. Thandokazi Mbane. I'm from NMU. Actually, I'm quite happy and honored to be here. Please don't ask me about the jersey. Please. I mean, please do accept my apologies. One of the accidents in the seats. So now what happened is that I'm actually quite passionate about tourism industry, specifically the township tours. Originally, ndingumuntu ofunde eKapa, so I came to the Eastern Cape in 2019. And sorry for that. And since I came, I have been looking for platforms whereby I can actually engage with municipality and see how I can actually be of assistance. And now, because and all of that, so those are the things that brings passion to me about the industry and its growth. So as a result, I did my PhD on township safety. However, I did it in Cape Town townships. So I did it in Guguletu, Kailicha, and Nyanga. So now, being here today, it has actually opened up my eyes and actually realized that the same issues that are actually permanent, that are quite prevalent in the Cape Town townships, is the same issues or same challenges that are actually being, that I'm actually finding out from here. So from my studies, I found that poverty was one of the main issues that actually drives into the high crime rate within these areas. There was high drug usage and all of that. So through research, I have created some guidelines for the city of Cape Town, some guidelines for, I also included the police for the research. I've included some guidelines for the police, for the municipality, and the city of Cape Town and so forth. So my point is that Ndiza kuni ndizocela uba ndincedeni, ndifakeni nam into bringing ukubhala and to creating the routes that are gonna assist i-community yethu. Ndicela as i-university nathi sithathwe sisetyenziswe, singabi nazi-PhD esizothi sihambe sinamagugu ngazo. Sicela ii-PhD zethu zisebenzele ii-communities zethu where we come from. So, yeah. So that's all. So ndicela uba involved in creating the routes, ndicela uba involved into being part of ilentuza in Nelson Mandela Bay tourism community and building the ilentuza, the policies, the guidelines, anything that is needed in such a nature where I am capable of. Nam ndikwazi uba ndiyazi uba ndibe nesandla kwi-community yam yaseBhayi.
Thank you,
Gqeberha,
Thandi.
thank you,
Thank you,
Gqeberha.
Thandi. Thank you, Thandi. U-MMC uthe, we know everything, we know the problems, and the only problem ngenayo nguhawu. And I think uhawu naye simfumene, and I think we have found each other. Moving forward, we will know what to do, we will know where to go. Just the last round, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Mr. Makwabe, after them, jump up to the stage. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to contribute. There are two scenarios. When we watched here at the end, the smaller teams from Disco, and so when they played against the major clubs, like Springboks, only major club in town anyway, they would get asked the question, what was the score? The answer was that we tackled them. They never referred to the score. The point of it was that those people just were afforded an opportunity to play, but it was not meaningful play. And I'm trusting that this workshop will be meaningful in that we will take action. Otherwise, you will always give people an opportunity to ventilate, but you do nothing. And people can be happy and be proud of the fact that, no, we participated, we spoke, I confronted them. And there is no value in that. And trust that. From 0, we're going to get to 1, 2, and 10. Because that's how you transform societies. And the power is with us, not on anybody else. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Sorry.
Mandiphakame phakathi kwabantu. Nkosi Mhlekazi. Mna ke ndingunkosi uZwelivelile. Omele kwicala lemetro. Mhlekazi ndibanjwe esithubeni. Xa ndibanjwe esithubeni. Nako umhlekazi ufika la ndibanjwe esithubeni izolo. On my way down to Port Elizabeth, ndivela kwintlanganiso ebunje yasebukhosini. Mandibulele loo ndawo leyo. Xa ndingabi nje iBhayi kwethini, but ingabi nje iBhayi. We need to see tourism isebenza apha eBhayi as usual. We never see tourists for a long time here. Why? Can't. Why always mention your name? Say we newly up. We newly up. Uba ibezi leaders. 'Leaders. 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 ' Theni ngoku nifelisha nje kuthiwa i-tourist azinawungena ebhayeni ngenxa yamaphara. What is the para after that? Yesterday, I helped another white guy, is all, apha eNjoli. Don't know his chap, Pumapina, with his cameras. Imoto ayifuna uthathwa, cameras ayifuna uthathwa. He's a tourist. Plant. He's a tourist. I have to say to that chap, touch him low. Before touch a guy, touch me. Then you're going to see now. I'm a fighter, guys. I'm a fighter. Don't say me that. Go and disable cousin. But you don't realize I'm a fighter. That guy nearly got robbed. Because why is white? He's a tourist. Please. And so I came to listen. Mtanomhle, ndizomamela. Ndiyabulela bakakwam apha, madoda. New Brighton is a rich place, very, very rich, New Brighton, with tourists. Very, very rich. Ifuna ukwakhiwa ngendlela, Mike. Nanku Mendi pha, into yodlala pha ezantsi. Mendi, into yodlala pha ezantsi. Ngamaqhawe lawo, ayalwa, alwela ilizwe. When they were on the way to Germany, a bow tie was shot. Anyway, nangu ushaya kulati. Somebody mentioned ushaya kulati here. A tourist said to I was in Durban once to look at the Chaga Zulu. Why that thing can't be done by municipality? Why? Why man unakama foko izinto apha ebhayi zikhona tourist? Why man unakama foko apha ebhayi? Kama foko nwenzayo. What the tourists going to say? Sabuka ntoni tourists up? Nisepa on Enjoli. No. And guys, stand up. You guys are the leaders. Sininyole up. I see no reason why. Look at the New Brighton. Sorry, Danomhle. When you enter, look at the situation there. Indaba Tagaris. Even the bridge, I attract to welcome to New Brighton. According to Choyopa, go sign the show. It tourists, a very small thing, go enter it now. Those days was better. When you enter the place, well, see, who's this man? Who's this? Indonesia coin of Bugada Gabinu, right? Mike. Ngonguma. No, guys, please. Before you tell them a tourism car, please look at you first. Babandu basakba nabandu nabandu. Bukwani bukosaf. I've got 15 ingoses coin. I'm going to tell us again, some account. Long 15 ingoses coin. As funuted. But in Gogi enough is enough. Tourists must again as a book. The sea where municipality was in down. Your babans mabaham. I always appoint in Abandum now. About man's my point. When you live in Aband, never appoint, and a man's my point, did you are failing. You are failing to help our people. Thank you very much, Chairperson. You give me that 5 minutes of yours. Thank you.
Azandin.
Yeah, Ngos kakhulu tata, I feel honored. I don't know, someone must say New Brighton says transport, which has last sport naturally. So I'll just refer all my closing remarks based on the fact that I'm one of the youngest secretaries of the City Football Club, a 53-year-old club, Upper area. There are clubs that are older than that club in here. So there's a whole lot of history there. So the thing that they taught me was, you can't be in a place and when you go home and your mom asks you what happened there, and then you can't even come up with what people call a resolution. So I thought that my closing remarks could be, what is it that I have learned here? What is it that I think should be a way forward? So, I think a point that I could relate to my mom. I believe that we have to reimagine our township and create a lasting legacy. Create a market for our people. The fact that the relocation is destroyed, let's try and educate our communities. Let's collaborate to be a destination of choice. Safety is very paramount. Marketing, donate. Manufacturing hub, warmer, working towards involving youth, create events for us, because 90% of our communities, they come from overseas, but at the moment we are struggling. I know Mr. Makwabe, I know that you guys, development, tourism, and agriculture. I think we should look at creating an events and conferences for us to be able to going forward. Visual arts, visual art for road development. I know you took with Kabeka as a capital of art culture in the Eastern Cape. Participation of people is very paramount for us to go forward. Cleanliness has just been mentioned now with that. Sport tourism. I just mentioned sport. Someone just mentioned sport. We sport in this area. We love sport from A to Z. Why don't you take advantage of that? We are sport people. Human libraries. Amabut. We've got old people, they've got stories to tell. Tata is telling us that we've got chiefs and kings that are around here, but we're not using them. Prambo, this one is coming to you. I know we've discussed the thing about facilitators, assessors, and moderators. I feel the experienced guides and all people like Oshon van Eyck and other experienced people as tourism, we should have an engagement where we register or train them as facilitators going forward. Why? So that we can have a strategic partnership with ECPTA to train the youth as site guides instead of tourism ambassadors. Open the relocation museum. Build the tourism hub. Go forward. It's attractive to sell a 5-day product than a day product. To talk about 3 years. Lee, I'm talking to you, my brother, when I'm saying that. Your role, you might not see your role for you being here, but that's where we should be moving forward. Create incentives for those who can come up with economically viable products. I've been trying to build a B&B in my house, but I can't afford to finish it. I'm not the only one. Surely there are a lot of people who have ideas out there. It took 10 years for Route 67 to be a viable route. Mr. Makubera spoke about how could we create a unique route so that we can start to sell that from provincial and national, where we can sell the things internationally. Empower the forums and associations. Thanks for the opportunity.
I'd like to thank everyone, the organizers of this sitting. Mine would be really appreciative in terms of for us to gather again and talk to the issues, to the solutions that have been put today. I'm hoping that the Office of EDTA can initiate that, whereby we can come. We've got the stats there. We've got brilliant heads, as you can see here today, where we talk to the stats and look at where are we starting to really put a practical way forward. Thank you very much.
I'll keep it short. Mine would be, we have enough histories and stories. For me, a point to take forward is very key. Invest in people, invest in communities, empower people meaningfully, even on the forums themselves, empower them with all kinds of resources which are needed. So for me, key word is please invest.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vando. This is now the end of our morning. Mr. Makwabe, over to you. The only thing that I can say before Mr. Makwabe said, Yobana, at times Sibulawa go acting, a director acting this, acting this, acting this, acting this. It will be important in the Mr. Makwabe, xa siphinda simbone enga 80 esiqhuba because sihamba naye from here.
Program Director, thanks. Indeed, acting Executive Director for Economic Development, Tourism and Agriculture. Wandisile Makwabe Gama. Umbatha macha uxesi munxele isidumbu. Ndiyabulela kakhulu Program Director for uqhuba kakuhle le program the way you have done. I would like to greet leadership yethu, traditional leaders yethu. Greet to MMC wethu, Councillors Shadu, panelists zethu ezikhoyo apha, zonke guests ezikhoyo, partners zethu, industry, tourism, community ekhoyo, and everyone okhoyo, ladies and gentlemen, ndiyanibulisa, thanks. I could go on dithethe about the work that we do as economic development, tourism and agriculture. Talk about the framework that we have currently, economic recovery framework that we're implementing, and how it speaks to creating smart cities, which could in turn answer the question of safety and security that you referred to, where you are using innovation and using assets, community assets, and people-owned bodies, to have a central point where you are dealing with the crime, any crime. I could talk about all of that. The work that we do, the products that we're trying to develop, working with the industry, working with our partners, OMBDA. I could talk about the budgets that we allocate annually, the programs, the intervention, the initiatives, and so on. But I don't think that would help, listening to the input that has been made here. Because what you gather, that there needs to be a central focus on economic development and an understanding on what that means. If you don't understand that, you continue to build something that offers no value to anyone, where there's no economic activity, and therefore no sustainability linked to that. So if there's that understanding, I can mention a story where I was involved in some project, for an example. I was asked to implement something. And at implementation, just before implementation, MK Veterans General, they objected. They rejected this thing. And I went to find out what is the reason. They said to me, but we don't know what is this thing implemented for our beneficiation. We don't even know the benefit, really. They told me. They engaged me. And so I said, but how can you not have known? We were not part of the plan. We didn't understand, etc. I then said, okay, fine. Let's start from scratch. Let's plan together. Let me outline the budget for you. So I presented the budget. I said, give me that budget, give me that cash flow to show them the actual benefit across the months and so on and so forth. We agreed, we implemented the project. They bought into it. That's a sense I'm getting. The MMC did speak to this. I want to take you into our discussions that you would not know, the discussions that we have internally with the partners, with the colleagues. the discussions, the ideas that we take to our councillors who are also here to say, please look at this, please look at that. Those discussions, I can assure you, they are talking to this point that is being made. The point that says, this thing that we're doing, how is it involving people? And therefore, the engagement that you see here, which is central, this is what I often mention, that stakeholder engagement is quite critical. This is the reason why we're here, to engage. Because you cannot plan if you have not engaged, if you do not understand, if there's no buy-in. So with all that has been said, I want to assure you that we've listened, we've made notes. We understand that in order for us to be deliberate, to adopt a model that is much more deliberate, that can produce an impact that we all want, it starts with an engagement of this nature. And we not only do we engage internally and have that understanding that we need to go out there and be transparent. You see, this thing I mentioned about the engagement with the veterans, I understood the real meaning of the transparency and how it assists. You have, Mr. Mtati spoke about studies and master plans and so on. If we know those things and nobody else knows, to what end? To what purpose does that thing really serve? Lastly, I want to give an example of a place that I know very well, where it was a thriving community. There were factories there, industrial areas. There were taxis that moved, ferried people around. Community was, was doing well. There were even tourists and so on. And there was de-investment, though. The business decided to leave that area for one reason or the other. Of course, there was a challenge afterwards, poverty, this and that. When I started that area now, even my family had businesses and so taxis and all of that. You couldn't ferry anyone when there's no one going to work and that and that. When I started, even to this day, I realized that people didn't understand economics, the importance of having business, economic activity in a specific area. Now you have this situation that we referred to, Amapara, this and that. Misalignment, someone doesn't even understand what is this thing for. Let me go and vandalize and steal and so on and so forth. Who is this person doing what in my area? Let me take this, as Utata said just now. So starting that area and looking at where we are with this potential that we have now, I realized that this transparency that is needed, this engagement that is needed, this openness that you can come to us, as Sisi was saying there, come to us, engage us, our colleagues must take up on the matter and must come back to you, report to you, take you seriously, you are a very important stakeholder. Our MMC insists on it. So the programs that we have now, helped by COVID-19, COVID-19 is terrible, but it has helped us to realize that we need to develop new products. We need to be innovative. If we allocate funds to MBDA, we need to engage and follow the money. Follow that money, make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. But more importantly, it must serve the purpose. But the purpose must be agreed to. So we're here to have some kind of an agreement with all of you. We have heard you, we've noted, we understand what you are saying. My colleague who spoke gave me notes here of how we need to do this, revive forums, ensure that we have these hubs, these business hubs that are linked, give opportunities. Our councillors, for instance, have told us that you need to set up opportunity centers because if you're going to service business, it's young people that need this thing the most. Bring ICT to those business hubs in townships. Don't talk about hubs elsewhere. You've spoken about small, special economic zones, your kuchas and all these places with big business. But what are you saying about our townships? They've said it. And we said, no, we'll look into it. And we put items for them to consider to say, this is the solution that we have. So opportunity centers are key. But what are these opportunity centers supposed to do? They are supposed to give an opportunity to a young person to create a solution that talks to comprehensive integrated safety for that particular area. So the solution must come from that young person, from that area. And he must be the one who tells the community that this is the product that I have. I am benefiting with this and that one. It's going to benefit you as well. But this product, I'm going to sell it to the municipality so that the municipality could look into it. That's the opportunity that I'm talking about. So in other words, we've heard you, we've understood what you have said, we've made notes, we are in agreement. And our MMC will monitor us, will put a whip and make sure that we deliver that which we have said. So thank you very much. Mine really was just to thank everyone. Our panelists, the input, yourselves, industry, our partners, our sponsors, the colleagues, the officials who work very hard. I'm glad someone said so, that they know that colleagues and officials work hard. So in thanking you, you can come through this one. Let me start by thanking really the panelists. There's a small little gift that we would like to give to our panelists. Thank you, Mr. Mtate. Thank you, sir. MMC. We thank you as well. You're part of us, but we thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And our honorable program director, thank you very much. Program director, over to you. Thank you.
A big hand for Mr. Makwabe. Mr. Makwabe. Lati yethu ingathi sayibambe mother wethu MMC ngwapha. Sineti Mr. Makwabe sayibamba ngapha. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is the end of our story. MMC mandibethe nje ke lesisivalile. You know, if libraries are not part and parcel of the story, then we are out. Those were the parting shots and the parting words. Goodbye, and I wish to see you sometime. I thank you.